Good evening, everyone. Meanwhile, others join. What we will do is just introduce the topic for today. Sorry for the glitch that is being faced by some of the people who are trying to join. We will get this fixed. I'll just introduce the topic for today. So what we will really do is understand how we can add category averages to do a performance analysis comparison with the category that we choose. So let's say we have chosen a small cap category. We will understand how we can add the category average of all the small cap funds and compare it as to which of the funds have really managed to beat the category average and which of them have not managed to beat that. So we will do that using the compare section. Next, we will understand the interpretation of beta, tracking error, and information ratio with respect to each of the funds and their respective performance comparisons. Next, we will go ahead and have a look at the drawdowns analysis and the recovery analysis, which is again very, very crucial when you're looking at the performance with respect to any funds or portfolio. Of course, in this webinar, we will consider this for each of the funds. Portfolio drawdowns and recovery is definitely a topic for another day. But what this really tells you is none of the funds in the markets are ever going to be immune from losses or drawdowns for that matter. But what is really pertinent to note is how quickly do they recover from a loss? That analysis we will do with respect to the drawdowns and the recovery analysis. Next, we will have a look as to how we can check monthly SIP analysis and its relevant return parameter, which is the XIRR. Compares in the compare section, and then move ahead for a lump sum analysis and a point-to-point analysis. For lump sum investments, we do a point-to-point analysis. We will also have a look as to the new feature that we've launched for point-to-point analysis. You can now put in lump sum amounts right there in the compare section and put in some amount that you would like and change the start and end dates and do a comparison with the dates that you've chosen. Lastly, as customary, we will definitely throw the forum open for a Q&A session wherein you can get all of your questions answered. So let us just start right in with the webinar. For the first part, understanding category averages, I will move ahead on NGEN Markets compare section. In the compare section, I am just clearing all of the data, and now I will just reset this to inception. Now, when I'm in the compare section, I would like to load in entire category and understand how I can add a category average to it. For that, I've headed to the compare section. I will add the entire SEBI category of, let's say, for example, small cap funds. For that, there is this compare section, add groups. There's a drop down wherein you can pick and choose if you want to look at regular or the direct ones. So for the webinar sake, I'm keeping it to regular. Once I do that, I add in the entire SEBI category of small cap. I can see into the bracket, the number of funds currently trading into small cap as a category are listed right there. So there are 24 funds currently trading in Indian markets which belong to small cap as a category. When I click on that, all of these funds get loaded into the compare section. As you can see, there are 24 such funds and all of them have gotten loaded. For example's sake, let's just keep all columns and then move ahead with our analysis. Now we have loaded in, now that we've loaded in all the funds, we will now sort them as per their age and look at the ones that are very young. So the very, very young funds in the list are Mahindra Manulife. It has an age of only 0.33. And of course, the young oldest fund in the list is Quant Small Cap with an age of 26.35. Once you've added this in the compare section, you will then head over to add other items and add in category average, historical category average, right? For that, you just have to put in, because all of these are small cap funds, I will just add in a historical category average of small caps. I just have to put small cap funds, and this is the category average as a category average will now get loaded. You can see that this has gotten added right here, category average small cap funds. Now, what I can do is, with respect to its CAGR, I can check CAGR being an indicator of analyzed returns generated by these funds. I can sort this up in ascending or descending order, and I can check of this entire category which of the funds have managed to beat the category average and which of them have not managed to beat the category average with respect to the CAGR. So for that, I've just sorted this as per descending order, and I can see the category average small cap which is the category average of the small cap, is appearing right here. all of the funds that are above this have managed to beat the category average since inception, and their respective numbers are 26.45 with respect to Bandhan Emerging Fund, Bank of India Small Cap Fund, Edelweiss Small Cap Fund, and so on. If I just click on it again, I can see that these are the funds which have not managed to beat the category average, and they are appearing right here. So I can see this is the category average mark. These funds have not managed to beat the category average with respect to the CAGR parameter of it. All of the funds that are below it have managed to beat the category average with respect to CAGR. You can repeat this for whichever parameter you like. So let's say you want to check with respect to, let's say, 1 year return, or let's say 2 year return. For that, just have to come to this 2 year column and just click on it to sort. So as you can see, these are a couple of young funds which have not been trading for more than last 2 years. So that's the reason we are getting dashes here. But otherwise, if you just sort this up, we can see that this is the category average right here. All of them, one second, yeah. So all of them that are above this have not managed to beat the category average with respect to 2 year returns. Right? And all of these that are under this have managed to beat the category average for this parameter of 2 year returns. Right? This is how you can compare with respect to a category, given category, and then go ahead with choosing as to which of the funds have managed to outperform the category average and which of them have not managed to do that. Similarly to category average, you can also repeat the same process with respect to a benchmark. So how do you add a benchmark? For that, you just have to click on this search indices. In this search indices, first you need to make sure at least the common period under consideration is at least 5 odd years. For that, let's just go to the funds section and specify the small cap category averages and the filter parameters right here. For that, just click on filter categories and choose small cap. I've chosen small cap for an example's sake and put in a minimum AUM of, for an example, I've considered 3,000. Minimum reporting history of 5 years. That will give me all of those funds who have been around for at least 5 years or above, right? And I just have to click on apply. Once I do that, the long list has now gotten shortened to these funds. And now within a matter of a click, I will take all of these funds to the compare section. Once I do that, they will get loaded. All of the 10 holdings have now gotten loaded in the compare section. And now I can pick and choose which index I want to compare this performance against. Okay, so for an example, because these are small cap, let me just go ahead and add in a Nifty small cap index. So Nifty small cap 250 is the index that I'm trying to add here. And let's say I want to check this performance with respect to their outperformance or underperformance from last 5 years. So for that, I will just change the start date to 2018. And let's say April, 2nd of April. Now, in order to ensure a fair apples to apples comparison, I need to ensure one more thing, that in the return column settings wheel, this date is also set to the same date that is appearing right here. Just click on start date and choose the same date. So 2018, 2nd of April, and click on go. You will see an exclamation mark. You need not be worried about that. It just says that you have chosen a custom start date. Once you've done that, you can now go ahead and add in the category average that we just saw. So let me just add in it again. And now what I can see is with respect to the alphas that they have generated, and of course the beta, which represents the sensitivity of these funds with respect to the benchmark that is under consideration, we can have a look at that. So let me ensure the start dates are same. Once it is done, I can check that all of these funds that are under consideration have managed to generate a positive alpha, which is indicated by the annual excess, which is right here, which is the parameter in the pink column, right? And the beta of all of these funds has been under 1. A beta of less than 1 tells you that all of these funds have managed to generate an excess over the benchmark by typically taking lesser risk with the benchmark. So the benchmark beta with itself will always be 1. You can corroborate that as well. How do you corroborate that? You add the entire benchmark right here as a row item. For that, just have to go on add other items, search indices, and let's add in a Nifty 50, Nifty small cap benchmark right here. So small cap 250. When I do that, it will get added as a row item. So you can see this is the index that has gotten added. Let me just sort this, and you can check that the benchmark's beta with itself will always be 1. With a beta of 1, Let us just ensure that the start dates are same. Yeah. So now with a beta of 1, this is the benchmark's beta with itself. All of this have a lesser beta. That typically means they have lesser systematic risk with respect to the benchmark, and all of them have managed to generate an annual excess. Now, going ahead, if we were to understand and interpret tracking error and information ratio, let me just choose another category, which is, let's say, a large cap category. In that, I will just go ahead and add in a couple of index funds and ETFs also, and show you how tracking errors change with respect to an actively managed fund and a passively managed fund. For that, let's head back to the fund section. In the fund section, go to category averages. This is where you can pick and choose which category you want to check. So let's say we are considering large cap funds, that will be from asset class equity. I've just chosen equity as an asset class. And now these are the large cap funds that I would like to analyze. So these large cap funds, the category average Sharpe ratio of all of these large cap funds is 0.26. If you want to dive in further as to which are the components of these large cap funds, as you can see, the count is 31. If you just click on this button, it will throw you the drill down. So you can see these are all the funds and their individual Sharpe ratios, right? So these are the Sharpe ratios reported by the funds. The highest, some of them have managed to beat the category average with respect to Sharpe ratios. Now, let's say you want to analyze this further. You need to just click on this button, which will transfer all of these large cap funds from fund section to the compare section within a matter of a click. Once I do that, all of this gets added here. Once all of the 31 funds come up, you can then perform the analytics with respect to the tracking error and the information ratio. For that, I've just saved in a list for an example's sake. Let me just load that up. It will be a lot better for understanding for this webinar's sake. I have added a large cap list. Let me just load that. For loading that, you just have to click on my list, and all of your saved lists will pop up right here. So this is the large cap long list that I've just saved. Once I have loaded this up, this has 29 funds, and the minimum age of these under consideration will come up right here. Let these get loaded. Okay, so what we can check is with respect to the age, the minimum age is 5 years and above. So there are none of the funds under consideration which are less than 5 years old. Now, what we can check is with respect to these columns, there are a lot to handle. Let us just choose this mesh and choose only those columns which are relevant for our analysis today. I will just untick all of this and go on adding one by one, whichever I want. I want age. I want, let's say, AUM. I want their expense ratios. I want their NAVs. So I add that. And then I will just directly jump over to directly the beta, tracking error, information ratio. Mind you, I have not chosen annual excess. So the alpha parameter, I have not chosen that. And now with respect to information ratio, I'll tell you how you can make out whether the fund is generating an alpha or not, right? For that, just click on here. And then because this is a large cap list, let us choose a benchmark as a large cap index. So maybe Nifty 50, right? Nifty 50 seems to be a better benchmark. So I'll just add in a Nifty 50. And what I can check is with respect to Nifty 50 for the last 5 years, the information ratio that was generated by all of these funds are these. So let me just sort this in a descending order. So positive ones comes here. So Canada Robeco Blue Chip Equity Fund has an information ratio of 0.65. How do you interpret this? What is information ratio is very critical to understand to interpret this. Information ratio is nothing but a ratio of the annual excess, the alpha that is generated by the fund divided by the tracking error. Tracking error is a signal of whether the fund is actively managed or passively managed, and how does it track the benchmark under consideration. Because we have chosen Nifty 50 as a benchmark, this fund, this particular fund, Canada Robeco Blue Chip Fund, is actively managed fund, and that's visible right here. It has a tracking error of 3.74%. That's slight, that's definitely a tracking error with respect to the benchmark. Vis-a-vis, if you can see this index funds, I've loaded a couple of index funds, ETFs as well here. typically you can see they have lower tracking error with respect to the benchmark, and that's exactly their highlight. They intend to replicate the benchmark under consideration, and that's the reason they have typically lower tracking errors. If you were to just check that, we can see the lowest tracking errors will always be generated by the ETFs or the index funds under consideration. These will be the lowest. For all the actively managed funds, it will typically be higher than 2% or above. In this case, it is 3% and more. This is a indicator that these funds are actively managed, right? Now, with respect to information ratio, we can interpret without looking at the annual excess. I can tell that this fund would definitely be generating an alpha. How do I say that? Because the information ratio is positive. Information ratio being a product of alpha upon tracking error. If this is positive, the alpha has to be positive. I will just right away prove it to you. Now I will add alpha, which is the annual excess, in this consideration. Yeah. So once this is done, you can check that for all the figures wherein information ratio is negative, you can see even the annual excess is negative, right? Higher the annual excess negative, the information ratio will be negative, right? On the other hand, for all the positive information ratios, we can check the annual excess is also positive. So just looking at this one parameter, you can make out if the fund is generating excess or is it outperforming the benchmark or not. That's the use of information ratio. Now, moving ahead, we will have a look at the drawdowns and recovery analysis, which is the second topic of our webinar. For that, I will just come to the drawdowns analysis section. When I head over to this section, this will give us a drawdowns analysis of all the funds, fund by fund, right? This is not a portfolio drawdowns analysis. This is fund by fund drawdowns analysis. So let's say I want to sort them up as per the sizes of the worst drawdowns. For that, I just have to click on size as a column heading. When I click on size, it gets sorted in the largest to lowest order of their drawdowns. I can see HDFC Top 100 Fund has generated a loss of has reported a loss of magnitude of 41.04%. Of course, from a start date that we have put in here. In this case, the start date is 11th of May 2017. Of course, this is not a hard put date. You can definitely change this. But let's say, for example, consider this from 11th of May 2017 onwards. And we can see the length of this drawdown was 263 days. If we were to check when this drawdown happened, that's available right there. I'm just hovering on 263 days, and I can see that this drawdown happened between 4th of July 2019 to 23rd of March 2020. And then the drawdown, which took 263 days, recovered within a matter of 190 days. If we were to further analyze as to when this recovery happened, you just have to click on this chart, which will open up the analysis, drawdowns analysis of this fund in a detailed manner, right? You can see this was the worst drawdown, second worst, third worst, fourth worst, and fifth worst. So we have just ranked the drawdowns on the basis of their magnitudes. We can check the start and end dates here, and most crucially, the recovery date of it. So gray periods, what you can see on the chart, represent the drawdowns, and we can see that after 190 days, this fund recovered from it on 14th of December 2020, when it regained its levels of 521. So when it reported this 41% loss, its NAV dwindled from 521 to 307. And on 14th of December 2020, if I were to just hover on this right here, I would be able to check it right there. It reached back to 521. That is the start levels when it started falling, right? I just have to hover on this, and then I can see that we have reached 11th of December and it has still not managed to cross 521. If I just go a little ahead, I can see it has managed to cross the threshold of 521, and that's the reason. Exact date when this happened was 14th of December 2020, and that's the date of the recovery. That's listed right here. That's how you can understand what are the underlying dates and what when the drawdowns happened and when it started recovering. Now, let's say you want to check as to which of these funds among the large cap as a category were the quickest to recover from a drawdown. For that, you just have to click on recovery. It will sort them as per quickest to the latest recovery. So, for example, this JM Large Cap Fund, which has managed to recover the quickest in this entire large cap as a category. It managed to beat all of the other funds, and it recovered within the matter of 115 days. This definitely tells you as to what is the strength of the fund with respect to recovering from a loss. That's the drawdown and the recovery analysis. Next, moving ahead, for doing a monthly SIP and a point-to-point comparison, let me just take in a smaller list so that it will be better for analysis. I will just remove all of these items. You need not remove them one by one. You just have to click on this, remove all. All of the items in the compare section will be removed in the matter of a click. Let me load in another list, which is, let's say, for example, mid-cap list. So let me load 6 of the mid-cap items. And of course, because we are discussing category averages, let me also add in category average for mid caps right here. For that, I just go to add other items, historical category averages, and choose mid caps. I add in mid cap right here, and it will get added as a row item. As you can see, it has gotten added, category average mid cap. Once this is done, move over to monthly SIP. Once you go to monthly SIP, just put in some installment date. So let's say, for example, with an installment of 5,000, put in every single month from 23rd of March 2020 till 13th of April 2023. What were the XIRRs that were generated by these funds? Just put in the start and end dates that you would like to have, and just click on Run SIP. And we can check that these were the funds which generated an XIRR of these amounts. So HDFC managed to outperform all of these funds in this category with XIRR of 23.55%. Now, if we would like to add in a benchmark for this and have a look as to were these funds able to beat the benchmark, for that, just have to go to add other items and add in a mid-cap benchmark. Let me just add in a mid-cap index for that. Let's just consider as mid-cap 100. Once we have done that, head over to monthly SIP analysis, and we can check if a SIP would have been in, of course, this is hypothetical. If an SIP would have been done in the entire index of Nifty Mid-Cap 100, the returns would have been 20.32. On the other hand, if the SIP would have been done in these two funds, which is SDFC and Kotak Emerging Equity, it would typically have generated better XIRRs for the client. If you were to generate a detailed report of the SIP, you just have to click on this, Run Detailed SIP Analysis. When you do that, a new tab will get opened and a detailed SIP analysis will run. Here you can definitely pick and choose whichever installment amount you want, or just keep it as it is and run a SIP analysis on this. Let's say you want to run this for the last, let's say 5 years. So just put 2018 as a start date and click on Run SIP Analysis. Once you do that, you can generate reports out of it and present this across to the client and pick up checks accordingly. So it will give you the XIRRs, the number of installments, amount invested considering 5,000 monthly SIP, and of course the final value. We have also given you an option to generate a password protected PDF. So once this gets downloaded, you can definitely see this. These are the key statistics that are visible right here. And of course, the month on month, how the value changed month on month is available right there at the bottom. As the installments kept on coming in, these were the changes in the value of the investment. That's the monthly SIP analysis. Let's now move ahead and look at the how lump sum, if a lump sum investment would have been made, how these funds would be catching up. For that, you just directly have to head over to point-to-point analysis, which is your one-stop solution for understanding point-to-point analysis. Just give me a minute. I'm loading in the funds. Once this is done, Nifty mid-cap. I'll add the index and I'll head over to point-to-point analysis. Yeah. So in this point-to-point analysis, we have this tab, which is lump sum investment value. This lets you put in the amount of your choice. Let's say you would like to have an analysis of 50 lakhs. Just put in this amount. Once you've put in, just click outside and you can see for different varying periods, how this 50 lakhs would have performed if it would have been invested for these period. So let's, for example, in these 5 buckets, you can put dates of your choice. But let's say, for example, I will take from financial year 2021 to with the end date of the gone by financial year. So let's say 2023 of March. If an investment would have been done in HDFC mid-cap opportunities for this period, my 50 lakhs would have returned to 67 lakhs 7,530. And if you were to just sort this up as per lowest to highest, you can definitely do that. Just have to click on this sort and have a look at the performance of how this 50 lakhs would be turning out. Let's say now you would like to have this in percentage amount. That's also available. That was available prior also. Just have to click on annualized percentage, and this will give you in percentage terms. So that's how you can navigate with respect to lump sum investment, and of course the monthly SIP investment. Let's say your client is inclining towards monthly SIP. You can take him. You can present this monthly SIP chart to him. And if he's more inclined towards a lump sum investment, you can definitely go ahead and show the point-to-point analysis, put in the amount that he's planning to invest, and show this analysis to him. Right. That's how you can show the lump sum and monthly SIP analysis. That typically brings us towards an end towards the of the webinar related discussion. We will now throw the forum open for a Q&A session wherein you can get all of your questions answered by our team. You can do so either by typing in your questions in the chat box or directly unmuting yourself to speak.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Please go to the monthly SIP section.
Okay.
Then HDFC mid-cap opportunity. Detail.
Yes.
I want SIP value, invested left axis and NAV. ये please explain कर दो. ये chart में जो है वो.
Sure. Okay, so what this says is the green line, whatever you can see right here, is the investment amount. As you can see, the amount is same, but as you put in 5,000 month on month, the installment is gradually increasing. As you can see here, it's 5,000. As you go ahead in the timeline, you can see the amount increasing, right?
Oh.
It's a stable increase in the investment amount.
Okay.
Okay, as you can see, the invested as on 14th of April 2023 is 1,85,000. That's even visible right here.
Oh.
Okay, the blue line is the SIP value. This is typically coming from the NAVs of the fund, right? And how does it affect the fund performance? The NAVs, if you were to check, the trend is same. So you can see this, the yellow line, the yellow line and the blue line will go in tandem because this is as per the NAVs of the fund, right?
Okay. तो ये जो है ना SIP वैल्यू का जो ये अबव है बराबर और ये NAV का जो है वो डाउन है तो ये क्या है?
हाँ जी, yeah, this is Arnab. So इसका reason, ma'am, is that you see in the bottom when you see the label that we said, the SIP value and जो invested value है, ये दोनों left वाली axis पे है. जो Y axis आप देख रहे हैं ना, जहाँ पे 60,000, 1.2 lakhs, 1.8 lakhs, इसके according है. तो आप देखिए ग्रीन लाइन जैसे प्रजक्ता ने बोला कि एकदम स्ट्रेट लाइन में ऊपर जा रही है बिकॉज दिस इज द मनी जो आपने अंदर अभी SIP में इन्वेस्ट किया है, राइट?
ओके.
उसके साथ ब्लू वाला जो लाइन है, ब्लू वाला जो एरिया है वो ऊपर जा रहा है बिकॉज इसमें रिटर्न भी मिक्स्ड है. तो आपके ग्रीन और ब्लू के जो डिफरेंस है ये आपका रिटर्न है एक्चुअली, ग्रीन और ब्लू वाला ये एरिया.
हाँ, ये
बढ़ रहा
बराबर है.
हाँ जी. जो लेकिन जो ऑरेंज वाला लाइन है वो राइट साइड वाले एक्सिस चल रहा है. आप देखिए राइट साइड पे देखिए 0 से स्टार्ट हो रहा है और 250 तक जा रहा है. और आप ऑरेंज लाइन का एकदम बिगिनिंग वाला पॉइंट देखेंगे ना तो वो है 36.45. ये HDFC मिड कैप अपॉर्चुनिटीज फंड का NAV था 23 मार्च को 2020 को. उसके बाद
जब हम लोगों ने शुरुआत किया, हम लोगों ने शुरुआत की. हाँ, ओके.
हाँ जी. तो आप देखेंगे ये जो ऑरेंज वाला बीच में डिप होता है आगे जाके ये 22 के आसपास यहाँ पे. तो आप देख रहे हैं आपका जो वैल्यू है जो ब्लू वाला लाइन है वो भी डिप हुआ है थोड़ा साथ साथ. हाँ, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली NAV गिरा है तो अभी तक आपने जो पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया है उसका वैल्यू थोड़ा ओवरऑल टोटल वैल्यू थोड़ा सा गिर गया बिकॉज थोड़ा सा लॉस हो. उसके बाद वो वापस रिकवर हो गया तो आपका ब्लू लाइन फिर से आगे जाने लगा. एंड अगर आप ब्लू लाइन को आप फॉलो करेंगे प्रोजेक्टर, लेट्स गो टू द लास्ट पॉइंट ऑफ दैट ब्लू लाइन. ये जो लास्ट पॉइंट है 261527 ये एग्जैक्ट मैच कर रहा है ऊपर जो लिखा हुआ है 261527. ये आपका वैल्यू है इंक्लूडिंग योर रिटर्न.
ओके ओके ठीक है. अच्छा, थैंक यू.
There is a question on it. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
So can you go to the SIP section? So
Yeah.
again, I just have faced some problems. So in this, so it's like all the SIPs are starting at the same date. So can we just shift the dates of a particular SIP? Like supposedly HDFC started in not in March but in April. We are assuming here that all the SIPs started at the same date. So is there an option कि यूनियन सपोज कर लो एक मंथ बाद स्टार्ट हुआ फिर उसका XIR क्या है? यहाँ पे हम वो नहीं कर, वो एक चैलेंज आता है. तो कैन
Well,
वी फिक्स?
but आप एक साइड अगर आप एक टाइम पे 7-8 SIPs देख रहे हैं,
हाँ.
तो कंपैरिजन का मतलब क्या होगा अगर स्टार्ट डेट अलग हो गई तो?
देखो
If the start date is
ओवरऑल
different, then they're not comparable, right? The
मतलब
XIRR is
किसी
not going to make
हम
sense. Yeah, sorry.
that I mean for a client उसका ओवरऑल XIR क्या बना है मान के चलो उसने अलग अलग डेट्स पे वो करी हुई
अच्छा
है.
अच्छा
तो वो क्या होता है कि एक ही बार आप लोड कर देते हो ना एंड अगेन सब में सेम अमाउंट, किसी में अमाउंट अलग है तो उसका XIR अलग आएगा. तो दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ challenges which I face when I'm using this.
Understand. So here I guess the thing is that what this section is not geared towards is kind of individual client situations, right? Because what the situation you're describing is कि आपके client ने 5 SIP start की with different amounts with different dates. So if we in that case it will actually give you the actual transaction PNL of that client's set of SIPs. So here this is more of a kind of a selection tool that in order to make a decision for the future which one should you choose, and in that case we try to give you a fair comparison of the SIPs. So for example, when you choose the start date, just go to the start date, you'll see if you keep, it's not letting you go before 23rd March 2020. Most likely the reason is that one of them is quite union mid cap. Yeah, so because of if you want to do a longer SIP analysis, you will have to remove it first, and then only the system will allow you.
Yeah, that I understand. But my only challenge was ki, to see the actual XIR for the overall portfolio. See, again, we have to remove that. That is a challenge. तो वो पीछे का अगर मान के चलो वो बाकी भी कर रहा था और एक नया फंड आ गया, then वो हम एक ही बार में उसको नहीं दिखा सकते यहाँ.
नहीं दिखा सकते because see for actual XIR client के जो portfolio का actual XIR है, that is not something that our system even caters to. I mean, this is something you will easily find in your back office system because they will have the historical transactions. But nowhere in the system, even when you run portfolios, that's all. Everything is as base of today, regardless of what the client has done in the past. So because of that, I mean, calculating actual XIR of given set of transactions with different start dates, etc., that is not something that we do in NGEN Markets. It's always forward looking.
Is there a possibility we can add this tab, like हम इसी के जैसे फाइनल वैल्यू के साइड में हम एक टैब बना दे कि यार ये इस डेट से इस डेट पे स्टार्ट हुई थी और ये इस डेट से इस डेट पे स्टार्ट हुई है और इसका अमाउंट ये उसका अमाउंट. We
can try and look into it. There's one tool that we had started to build.
It will give a portfolio overview fully, like actual में क्या आपका fully XIR आया, actual amount जो आपने अभी तक से आपने करा है,
We can take a look into it. I know that one tool, one of the teams we have was developing a tool which has not been made public yet, but it was going to show up on the top. But I can check with them because that tool, what it lets you do is it lets you enter a set of transactions, and given those set of transactions, it calculates the XIRR. But so in that, we could probably add some kind of tool where you can add multiple SIPs also. But so okay, fine. So we'll check with them if that is possible. I mean, currently there is no way to do what you are asking.
And one more thing, there is you just mentioned about the category averages. So how is it exactly calculated? Like you take the CAGR and do it divided by like how it is exactly calculated and how it is different from the one which is there in the index.
Absolutely, I'll tell you. So basically, category averages, the calculation is as follows. What we do is, for let's take large cap fund category average. So Prajakta, just click on the history here. So to calculate each point, so Prajakta, just stop at one point. Yeah. So let's say 27 Jan 2006. So what we do is our system has gone back in time, and for every single day, check on today which are the large cap funds that were live. And on that day, for example, let's say 27 Jan 2006, it has taken the total number of large cap funds. Let's say there were 25. So it's taken 25 large cap funds, taken the 1 day return of those large cap funds, all those 25 on 27 Jan, which means movement from 26th NAV to 27th NAV, taken the average daily return and saved it. Then it is repeated the same process for the next day, next day, next day onwards, all the way through history. So we basically have this, what it is showing you is the average daily return of all large cap funds as of that day in history. And using that daily return, we've created an index basically. You can see this index starts probably at 100 right at the beginning. That's how the category average is calculated. So we definitely do not use CAGR. The problem is CAGR is compounded, which means every time you change the start date, you will get very completely different results because of compounding.
This is Tarak from TRA Consilium. I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, like when we go to the fund session and when we go to the asset allocation screen.
Yeah.
If you open a fund, we'll go to the asset allocation screen, right?
Okay.
In that, like we have mentioned here equity, debt, and all, right?
Yes.
Like can we also check it, like how much percentage is invested in only banking sector, how much percentage is invested in IT, pharma, metal?
Yes, absolutely. You can go to the equity sector sub-tab. So Prajakta, let's go to that one, the second last one. So here you can actually check exactly how much is in each sector. And if you want to drill down further, you can just click on the sector itself and you will see the stocks that make up that percentage.
Yeah, bro, I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
Here the analysis is based on the previous historical data, right?
So these are the latest holding, but are you talking about the back test or the asset allocation?
No, sir. Like all this testing we do based on the previous historical performance of a fund, right? Even if you're comparing two funds, based data we give based on the data, it has like how it has performed. We compare two funds, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like can we have it like based on the sectorial performance? Do we have this peer comparisons?
Yeah, you can easily do that. Prajakta, let's go to the compare section. So in the compare section, for example, there are a few funds loaded here. You can add a sector index here, for example. So if you want to see the performance of that sector, so let's search for Prajakta, let's just search for any sector, auto or something like that, just see what comes up. Auto or pharma or something, just search the indices. Okay, so there you go. So we got BSE auto, pharma. Let's add another sector here. So you can start adding these sectors. You can also add the category average if you're interested in doing that as well. So you can add a category average of mutual funds also. So basically in the compare section, you can basically add anything you like. Everything is available. If you also want to put other things in here, which are not in our system, you can also do that by adding a custom security in the My Securities section. And then once you do that, you can actually come back to the compare section and here, just load that thing in here. So if you want to be a PMS or gold price or whatever you want. And once you've done that, you've got all the tabs in the compare section available to you to do the comparative analysis for all of this. Drawdowns, rolling returns, performance chart, point to point, everything is there.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Parimal here. In main list, you suggest select that information that does go for that in small cap fund.
Sure.
In small cap. Compare with small cap. In setting, you select some selected skill setting.
Yeah, perfect.
Column.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so we picked a start date, and now let's come to the information ratio column. Yeah. Okay, so basically, yeah. So just for the sake of clarity, the way the information ratio is calculated is by looking at the annual excess return, which is basically Aditya Birla Sun Life Small Cap Fund in this case. How much has it outperformed Nifty Small Cap 100 on an annual basis? 0.31. Then we divide that by the volatility, the standard deviation of this difference over time, which happens to also be the tracking error. Right? So basically,
only I want to say only annual access is not enough. You have to tracking errors also. You can, just like I want to check that in say one in the information ratio of this HDFC small cap is 1.28 and annual access is 9.56 and say 1.64 of HDFC small cap is annual access 16.81. It's a huge difference for returns. Correct? I'm confused about that. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, you're audible.
हाँ मेरा वही क्वेश्चन था ये इन्फॉर्मेशन रेशियो जस्ट लाइक अभी एडिस मार्केट का 1.20 के आगे 9.56 एनुअल एक्सेस है तो मतलब 1.65 में भी ना 16% का रिटर्न है एनुअल एक्सेस मतलब ये रिटर्न्स ये मतलब एक्चुअल कैलकुलेशन है ना वैसा बोल रहा हूँ
मैं yes Arunab sir, are you there?
आपको मेरा क्वेश्चन समझ में आया मैडम मैं स्टार्टिंग से बोल रहे हैं ना
yes
मेरा क्वेश्चन
समझ में आया सर
question.
yes
You can take the question, please.
yes so in this case HDFC का return आप देख सकते हो annual excess 9.56 है right and on the other hand SBI का है 16.81 अभी इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो दोनों का आप देख सकते हो एनुअल एक्सेस 9.56 अगर आप उसको डिवाइड करोगे बाय द ट्रैकिंग एरर 7.45 आपको मिलेगा इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो ऑफ 1.28 राइट ऑन द अदर हैंड ये इसका एनुअल एक्सेस को इसके ट्रैकिंग एरर से डिवाइड करोगे तो यू विल गेट अ इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो ऑफ 1.64 अभी लेट्स से आपके पास ये सब डेटा है नहीं ओके यू ओनली हैव इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो ये 3 कॉलम है ही नहीं एक्सेस कॉलम्स है ही नहीं आप सिर्फ इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो से कैसे डिटरमाइन करोगे कि किसका बेटर है अल्फा तो ऐसे डिटरमाइन करोगे जिसका भी इंफॉर्मेशन रेशियो ज्यादा है 1.64 है दैट मींस इसका अल्फा मतलब एनुअल एक्सेस ये इस वाले से ज्यादा होगा
ओके
right that is how you interpret
information ratio is more than enough
exactly I mean हाँ with respect to only annual excess अगर आपको अल्फा चेक करना है तो yes even if आपके पास ये डेटा नहीं होगा तो I mean of course है डेटा आपके पास but in spite of that you can definitely make out from this information ratio of course tracking error comes into play tracking error वो भी affect करेगा उसको
तो डिवाइड करना जरूरी है
exactly
हेलो मैडम ये
Hello?
जो चार्टिंग है ना चार्टिंग
yes.
हाँ ये थोड़ा बता दो
Sure. So ये charting, we have added this as a recent development. यहाँ पे आप multiple, let's say आपको कोई भी technical analysis check करना है यहाँ पे अभी currently loaded है Nifty 50, which is the index. अभी उसके ऊपर आपको let's say simple moving averages या फिर exponential moving averages add करना है वहाँ पे. तो all you need to do is click on this button, which is technical indicators. We have a list of all the technical indicators. Bollinger Bands hai, SMAs hai, DMAs hai, a lot of them. Let's say example lene ke liye, I will take SMA, which is a simple moving average. I will just add this here on a series of Nifty 50 with an index of 3 and a period of let's say 260 days, which is 1 year equivalent. I'll just put in 260 and I click on add. I can see that a simple moving average chart has now gotten added. In addition to that, let's say अभी मुझे check करना है with respect to this fund, उसका measure करना है the x-axis and y-axis. I just click on this measure and I choose a point and go ahead in time. I can see that in this period, Minimum level was 932. The maximum was 6,224. Average during this time was 3,578. इसका आप demo से एक video already uploaded है. You can definitely check this to get a better understanding of it. But यहाँ पे actually आप multiple technical indicators add कर सकते हैं, and you can do analytics, basically technical analysis on whichever funds, indices, whatever you want, right? आप यहाँ पे जो भी आपको fund चाहिए आप यहाँ पे load in कर सकते हैं. Once you do that, you can add whichever parameters, or let's say आपको check करना है with respect to what is their current NAV. आप just click on this, which will give you the current NAV. It is 42.11. Multiple analysis run कर सकते हो आप यहाँ पे.
Okay. और एक मुझे चाहिए था, ये जो हम लोग ऑप्टिमाइज करते हैं ना,
Yes.
हाँ, और क्लाइंट को जब हम पोर्टफोलियो देते हैं तो पीडीएफ निकालते हैं ना,
Yes.
तो उसमें जो परसेंटेज डिसाइड हुआ है उसका अमाउंट हम लोगों ने 10 लाख है, तो 10 लाख कैसे अमाउंट में कैसा डिवाइड होता है, ये कैसे आता है इसमें? पीडीएफ में सिर्फ परसेंटेज ही आता है.
करेक्ट. आपको अगर अमाउंट बेस्ड चाहिए तो वी हैव गिवन ऑप्शन ऑफ पावर पॉइंट, राइट? आप पावर पॉइंट पे क्लिक करिए एंड यू कैन पुट इन द अमाउंट राइट हियर. सो लेट्स से ये जो न्यू पोर्टफोलियो हम रन कर रहे हैं, वहां पे मतलब आपको अज्यूम करना है दैट दिस क्लाइंट इज इन्वेस्टेड इन अमाउंट ऑफ 50 lakhs. जस्ट पुट इन द अमाउंट राइट हियर और क्रिएट करिए, क्रिएट पीपीटी. ठीक है. वंस दिस गेट्स डाउनलोडेड, जस्ट गिव मी अ मिनट. Okay, so ये PPT open हो गया and now this will be amount based PPT. As you can see यहाँ पे amount आ गया left hand side पे amount of 50 lakhs. आप second slide पे जाइए, it will show you the amount split as well, right? Between these funds क्या क्या amount है. Of course this will be on the basis of the percentage which is appearing right here. यहाँ पे जो है आप edit कर सकते हो इसको definitely. But that is how you can generate an amount based PPT.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I was cut off earlier. The information ratio issue was solved.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, can I
Yes.
get the PDF format for this report, sir? Because अभी के पास ये जो PPT format available नहीं system में, जो phone में और जो.
हाँ, तो सर पोर्टफोलियो का PDF तो हमेशा अवेलेबल होता है टॉप पे. यहाँ पे देखिए, whenever you run a portfolio.
ये जो PPT फॉर्मेट है ना, जो आपने जो बोले ना, जो अमाउंट वाला जो कॉलम है, जो अमाउंट में जो दिखा है उसमें PPT मॉडल में जो क्या होता है, सभी को जो डाउनलोड शो नहीं कर सकते.
ओ सर, एक्चुअली इसका इजीएस्ट तरीका है, जब PPT आपका खुलता है ना,
हाँ,
तो उसको ये देखिए, जैसे आप PPT में ही फाइल को डाउनलोड एज PDF कर दीजिए. यहाँ पे 1 सेकंड में PDF आ जाएगा, वो देखने में भी अच्छा लगता है एंड एकदम PDF बन जाता है. आप देखिए यहाँ पे.
ओके.
तो एंड इसमें आपको फायदा ये है कि जब आप PPT डाउनलोड करेंगे ना, तो उसमें अगर कुछ आपको छोटा मोटा एडिट करना है, तो वो आप एडिट करके फिर उसको डाउनलोड एज PDF करिए. ये देखिए, ये प्रोजेक्टर स्लोली शो, ये लेफ्ट साइड ऊपर PPT में देखिए फाइल है एकदम लेफ्ट पे, एंड डाउनलोड एज PDF.
ओके. फाइन. थैंक यू.
ये आपके PPT में ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाएगा.
ओके, थैंक यू सो मच. ओके.
So there's a question in the chat box which says, do we have an option to get report for step up SIP?
Yeah, so yeah, we have been asked for that. Just for my information, you mean that SIP will start at X thousand rupees per month, and after some particular time it will go to a higher amount on a monthly basis. Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, yeah. So this has been included, sir. So so just give us some time. We will work on that. But this is already in the list now of things to do.
Yeah, bro. Like I have one more question.
Yeah.
Usually, like we try to analyze it from inception, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes that inception, if you're clicking on that again, it is coming to the same 2016, 2015 levels. Like,
So do you mean in the compare section in here?
no, like if you open a fund.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you why that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you look at this, the bench. Now that benchmark may not have data going past that much. So if you really want to see for inception, my suggestion is first load a standard long index like Nifty 50. Once you change the benchmark, then you go and change the start date to inception. So let that load up. Now you see it's coming from, so now say inception. And now it should come back to a longer time period from when we have data. So it should load from 2007 now.
Yeah, okay.
So, only, yeah. So it's the benchmark that was stopping it from going back. Any other questions, please know. Okay, if there's nothing else, Prajakta, we can close for today.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for joining in. Just before closing, I'll just like to highlight that we have uploaded all of our past webinar sessions on our YouTube channel. You can definitely go ahead on our YouTube channel and check all of these recordings. What we are also doing is we're uploading some short videos, some shorts, 1 odd minute shorts. So let's say you do not have a lot of time, you can definitely check 1 odd minute shorts, and these are definitely available. Currently 95 plus are available, and as the going ahead, we'll definitely keep on adding more. For webinar list, you definitely can check the playlist webinars, and we have uploaded all of the webinars right here. Right. Thank you so much for joining.
Today's video is also available?
Yes, today's video will be available by the next week, by Wednesday next week.
Okay, fine.
So as you can see, 6th April, that's the last webinar video, is already uploaded.
Okay, thanks.
Even this video will be uploaded in the next week. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a great weekend ahead.